I was on a SEAL team extraction in Somalia when my radio cracked alive. Private channel, urgent. The voice was clinical, hospital tone. Your son's in ICU, severe frostbite. Your ex's new husband locked him in a commercial freezer for 3 hours. I froze mid-step, rifle still pressed to my chest. Frostbite, freezer, 3 hours. My daughter's sobs echoed faintly through the background of the call. My commander caught my expression before I said a word. "Soldier, you have 72 hours personal leave. No questions, just an order." I was on a bird home within 4 hours. Somewhere over the Atlantic, the anger stopped feeling human. It became procedural, something clean, precise, like a mission briefing whispered by my own pulse. The hospital smelled like metal and antiseptic, like an operating table that had forgotten its purpose. My son's small hand was wrapped in white gauze, the tips already darkened beneath. His skin was paper, still. He didn't cry when he saw me. He just said, "Mom said not to tell you." Those 6 words rearranged everything in my head. His mother, my ex-wife, Julia. The same woman who once told me I was too cold for family life, too precise. The same woman who replaced me with a man who smiled for photos but had eyes that flinched at children. I looked at my son's fingers. Then I looked at the nurse charting vitals, pretending not to hear. "Where's Julia?" I asked. "At home," she said softly. "The stepfather's in custody." "But she's refusing statements." "Refusing?" I nodded. In my world, refusal was strategy, guilt by silence, confession by omission. That night I sat beside my son and listened to his breathing, and every inhale sounded like a countdown. Julia called the next morning. Her voice trembled like a wire about to snap. "I didn't know what he'd do, I swear. I thought he was joking." "Joking?" "You left him there," I said. She went quiet. "You don't understand how he gets." I hung up. Understanding wasn't my concern. Verification was. So I began gathering intel, not through soldiers, but through silence. I called a private investigator, asked for surveillance on her house, financial records, phone logs. Then I asked for hospital footage, the night they admitted my son. 3 days of waiting, 3 days of pretending to be human again, feeding my son, telling stories, making the nurses believe I was just another broken father trying to cope. Inside, I was running simulations. Every variable, every lie, every possible route to the truth. The footage came in first. At 10:43 p.m., Julia arrived at the hospital, alone, calm, her hands clean. At 10:49, she made a phone call from the hallway. At 10:52, she began to cry. Too late. Too perfect. The investigator's final report arrived in a sealed envelope. Her phone records confirmed it. 3 weeks of calls between her and her husband's lawyer. Days before the incident. Discussions about custody, insurance, settlement clauses. They weren't victims of each other. They were co-authors. The plan had been to make me look unfit, to push for sole custody after negligence under my watch. But the freezer wasn't supposed to last that long. It was supposed to scare him, not scar him. I didn't confront her in anger. I requested a meeting. Neutral ground, a small cafe near the courthouse. She wore black, like she was attending her own funeral. "You look tired," she said. I slid the envelope across the table. No words, just evidence. She opened it, her face drained, like blood leaving a wound. How did you?" I leaned forward. "I spent a decade learning how to extract people from hell. You really thought I couldn't pull truth out of you?" She trembled. "Please, I didn't know he'd—" I interrupted. "You knew enough to delete the messages." Silence. Heavy. Final. The custody hearing was scheduled for the next morning. She never showed. Her husband did, handcuffed, head down. The judge reviewed the report I'd quietly leaked to Child Protective Services, to the prosecution, to every contact I had in the chain of command. Julia was found later that evening, in her car by the pier. Not dead, just gone. Vanished into the kind of shame that doesn't need witnesses. I didn't call her, didn't need to. My revenge wasn't in what I did. It was in what I let her see before walking away, the look on my face when I realized I didn't need to hate her anymore. Hate is still a connection. I cut that wire clean. My son's fingers healed enough to move again. He asked if I was staying this time. I told him I was. But I knew I wasn't the same man who left for Somalia. That man believed in justice. This one believes in truth and its cost. Julia called once more, weeks later. Unknown number. I let it ring. On the fourth ring, I whispered, 72 hours. The same number I had to save my son. The same number she used to destroy herself. Then I ended the call. Some wars aren't fought with bullets. They're fought in silence. And in that silence, I won.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Subscribe now to Cheating Stories Insight World for more amazing stories.